Welcome to today's PAWSCast.
Well, good day and welcome to Frostburg State University. I'm Don Swager, the host of the PAWSCast, and welcome to another edition. I'm so excited that you've been with us all semester, and I just wanted to say that this is going to actually be our last PAWSCast of the semester, but never fear, we're going to have lots more guests in the new semester, so just kind of hang in there. But we appreciate you tuning in and being a part of our PAWSCast. Again, like I said in the previous PAWSCasts, we've had lots of great guests and really a lot of good information this past semester. And today I'm sure that you're going to be excited because we're going to be talking about nutrition. Today's guest is Allison Lutz. Allison has a Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition and Foods from West Virginia University and completed her dietetic internship and Master's of Science at the University of Central Oklahoma. She has 15 years of experience and has worked at the Allegheny County Health Department and actually here at Frostburg State University as a registered dietitian. Allison is currently the lead dietitian for the outpatient dietitian group at UPMC Western Maryland and provides medical nutrition therapy to patients with eating disorders. Allison, welcome to the PAWSCast.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
And I should say welcome back to Frostburg State University.
Thank you.
Because I remember your time here working for our health center, which was called the Brady Health Center back in the day.
Yeah, what is it called now?
It's the University Health Center.
Okay.
Yeah. But remember those days, and you had the opportunity to meet with some of my student leaders, and they always enjoyed your presentations. Always wanted to bring Allison back.
Good.
So we're glad that you're back here at the university.
Me too.
So we have a lot to unpack. So I want to get started and just ask you a simple question. That is, what inspired you to become a dietitian, and what's unique about working with college students?
That's a great question. So I wasn't always on this path. I changed my mind many times. So if there are students here listening who are indecisive, that's okay. I'm going to encourage you. It's all going to work out and it'll be totally fine. So
that's great.
I'm very happy that I chose nutrition. I always liked science. There's a lot of science involved. And then I love food. So it was just a really good combo. I really like working with college students. I started at Brady, I think it was 2015, and I worked as a contractor up through COVID, so maybe 4 years or something like that. And I loved working with the college students. Even now, most of my patients are like teen and 20-ish. There are a couple reasons. They're probably my favorites. One is they're young, so they haven't had a lifetime to be set in their ways. So they're open to change. That's really nice. They also have nice young brains, so they're quick learners, which just makes it a little easier. I love all my patients, but it just makes it easier.
Sure.
And then the third thing, to me, it's very fulfilling to think that if our paths cross and I can help them tweak maybe one or two things that they can carry with them for the rest of their life, their quality of life is going to be improved. Their health is going to be improved. And that's just so special to me. So I really like working with this age group.
Yeah. And like you said, they could kind of take that into their older adulthood and,
yes, this
and
is
hopefully
the time.
develop some healthy choices and a lifestyle.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, and I just want to say, by the way, that even though we're kind of really gearing this particular episode specifically to college students, this information can be used for anybody.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what are some common nutrition challenges you see among college students then?
I think there are two big ones. Can I give you two answers?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So number one would be experience.
Okay.
So this is the first time they're on their own. This is the first time they've ever had to cook a lot of times or plan meals, or maybe they're living on campus, but it's the first time they really choose what to have for dinner.
Right.
And I think there's a learning curve. I think it's overwhelming, but we can make it really simple. So I know that dining services used to have cooking classes, like basic cooking classes. I looked to see, I didn't see any. I don't know if they still do that, but that would be a suggestion. They were awesome. That was really nice for my students to be able to just go and learn like just little tips. Cooking can be really simple. You can also go on YouTube and see, you could type in how to cut a pineapple, how to, brown ground beef, things like that are simple things that maybe if you don't know how to do it, it's overwhelming. But whenever you learn, it can be really easy. So I would say that eatingwell.com is a resource that I recommend all the time.
Okay.
It's run by dietitians. They have all levels of recipes. So they have just like quick and easy, simple recipes, and that would be a good place to start. So that would be number one, is just like the experience piece of planning meals and cooking meals. And I think that gets overwhelming. And then the second challenge, I think that's just only getting worse over time, is body image.
Yeah.
I think there's just so much emphasis on appearance.
Yeah.
There are so many pictures online that are not real, and it just doesn't help anybody. So my patients, most of them struggle with body image.
Mm-hmm.
So we have kind of like a two-part approach. Number one is learn to appreciate what your body does for you, because we cannot change our bodies. We have the bodies we were given. That's not going to change, but we can appreciate. So a lot of times we'll make a list. Like, these are some things that I wouldn't be able to do if I didn't have a body. So I couldn't listen to music, or I couldn't walk on campus to class, or whatever it is, just to kind of learn to appreciate. And then the second piece is to respect your body enough to nourish it. So taking care of your body and giving it what it needs. So a little bit of everything, not too much of anything, is kind of like the balanced approach to nourish your body. And really, if you're able to learn that, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, have a balanced approach, your weight will be where it's supposed to be, and you don't have to worry so much about body image.
I think that's a good point that you make, Allison, because so many of us put pressure on ourselves. You know, like you said, not only like what we look like and how we feel, but, it's just, we're the worst critics.
Yes.
Self-critics, just...
Yes, and just because your body looks the way you think it should doesn't mean you're healthy. And just because your body doesn't look the way you think it should also doesn't mean you're not healthy.
Yeah.
So finding a way to take care of your body, I think, is much more important, even though a lot of times our culture is telling us the opposite.
And I think that's so important, especially for our young people, to really take in and hear, that they matter. So you heard it from Allison, you heard it from Dawn. You matter. You make
That's
a
right.
difference.
That's right.
Yeah. So how do you tailor your nutrition advice for students with busy and unpredictable schedules?
That's a good one. I get it. I was a college student.
Yeah.
I'm now a mom. Your life is probably only going to get busier. So again, I think it's a learning curve. This might be the first time they're in charge of their own schedule or their own calendar. So there's a tendency to want to do everything. And I think it's just important to recognize your day might not look exactly how you want it to look, but that doesn't mean you can just throw caution to the wind and fly by the seat of your pants without any thought at all. Yeah. So I think that it's important to plan ahead a little bit. We do a lot of problem solving in our sessions. So if somebody, maybe they have back-to-back classes and they just feel like they don't have time for lunch, then I might ask them, well, do you think you could take 5 minutes the night before to pack a lunch? Or do you think that you could throw some non-perishables in your backpack, some trail mix and peanut butter crackers or something like that, so that you're prepared, so that you're not always just feeling run down and skipping meals, and that way you can set yourself up for success.
Yeah. So what are the biggest misconceptions college students, have about healthy eating then?
What a question.
Where do we begin?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So there is so much nutrition information out there. And I should say misinformation out there.
Yes.
And so I think that it's really important to learn to look at that information through a lens of skepticism and common sense. So like college-age students right now, most of them have learned the My Plate method, which is like choose my plate. They used to have the food pyramid. Now they have the My Plate method. Right. I love it. It's a really nice, simple way to just say, is my meal balanced? We take half the plate, we fill it with fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables give us vitamins and minerals and fiber. It's just so important for overall health and to feel good. Quarter of the plate is protein. Protein helps keep you feeling fuller longer. It stabilizes your blood sugar. It builds muscle mass. Protein is also important, but it's not the only thing. Protein is a really big buzzword right now. Yes. And then starch or carbohydrates, which are kind of like, I feel like they get the negative press right now. They're also important. That's your brain's main source of fuel. So if you're studying, you're using carbohydrates. So making sure that you're getting all these pieces. And then dairy too. Dairy is really important. A lot of people in this age group are not getting enough dairy. And this is the time to have healthy bones, because if you don't have healthy bones now, as you get older, you're really not going to have healthy bones. So just if you have that knowledge of this is what a balanced meal looks like, and then you're looking at these diet fads, you can say, if I just eat meat in the carnivore diet or whatever, what am I missing? I'm missing some whole food groups. I'm not going to get any fiber. That's probably going to back me up. I'm going to be missing vitamins and minerals. I'm probably not going to feel well. It's going to be expensive. I probably won't be able to sustain it. And truthfully, long term, you could cause damage to your heart and your kidneys. So just having that lens of like common sense, even though it doesn't seem exciting, it's not trendy maybe, it's just important to take a step back and I think use your brain.
Do you think we make it more complicated? I mean, because, and you did a beautiful job of articulating that. I really appreciate that, but it seems to me that, like you said, there's so much misinformation out there. I know I'm one that loves to do research, look into, what's the latest research, especially about, things like this and fitness and so forth. But to me, the way you described it, it's relatively simple.
It should be, yeah. And sometimes I think the piece that makes it complicated is some people have other diagnoses where they have to limit certain things or whatever it is. And that's what a dietitian's job is to help you make that work. But yeah, there are a lot of, I don't know if you maybe call it pseudoscience. Like there's a lot of stuff that isn't backed by research. You're probably going to lose weight. Okay, but you're going to cause damage in other areas.
Sure.
So just using that common sense, I think that simple approach, which is tried and true, is going to just be better long term.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about budget, because, as a college student, I remember being a college student back in the day, I didn't have a whole lot of money. But how do you recommend students balance affordability and nutrition, when it comes to
that's a really good one because groceries are now more expensive than ever. So.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember you don't have to get caught up in buying organic or buying a certain brand. You can still do that nice simple plate affordably.
Okay.
So if you want to look for protein, there's peanut butter, there's eggs, there's beans, there's canned tuna or canned chicken. There are ways to do it that are a little bit cheaper. Starch is usually always the cheapest one. There are potatoes, there's rice, those are pretty cheap. Fruits and vegetables, I don't care if it's fresh. If you're doing canned or frozen or dried, that's totally fine. You're still getting the benefit of nutrition.
Okay.
So just practically speaking, you want to make sure that you're choosing the lower cost items. That's totally fine. That's what I do for my family too.
Sure.
And then there are ways to prioritize. If my husband hates canned chicken, he thinks that's so disgusting. So we don't have canned chicken in our house, and that's fine. We get fresh. And so that in that way, maybe you want to choose fresh meat. You would just maybe do then like the frozen vegetables rather than the fresh or whatever.
Yeah. All right, cool. I like that. I don't like canned chicken either. Just to say,
I think it's great.
It out there. Maybe for an emergency, perhaps, But okay. All right. So what advice do you have for students who mainly eat from dining halls or the fast foods?
It's the same thing. I think I'm just going to keep repeating myself.
That's
balance.
Okay. Yeah.
So if Chick-fil-A was the biggest, that was like the most popular thing when I was here. I don't know if it's still the same way.
Yeah, well, we've added a few new things. Okay. With every time, I think every 10 years, the university changes contracts, with food services. But
they're still here, right?
Chick-fil-A.
Okay, so we're going to use that example.
Okay.
So, say you have a chicken sandwich. You decide to get a chicken sandwich. There's your protein and your starch. That's great. If you get fries, that's more starch. I don't know if they have fruit cups over there or like parfaits.
I'm not sure.
You could do that if they have it. If not, maybe throw a banana in your bag. And that takes some planning ahead, but that way you know that you're getting the pieces of your meal that you need. And it's going to be cheaper too. If you're at the dining hall, I know the last time I was down there, they had a lot of different options.
Yeah.
You can be mindful and make good choices. There were students who, do they still have that waffle iron? There was a big waffle iron.
For a while.
Okay.
I'm sure they do though.
Probably. So they loved the waffle iron and they would just eat waffles for their meal and sometimes more than once a day. So if you're just getting waffles, you're getting energy, right? You're getting carbohydrate, but you're really lacking in the other areas. So maybe rather than the waffles, maybe you could do waffles, fruit, and yogurt and eggs or something like that. So just being mindful, I think, of the balance wherever you are is really important.
Yeah, I agree. So how can students maintain healthy eating habits while managing stress? They have trouble sleeping sometimes, and of course their social activities.
Okay, so let's do all three of those. Yeah. So nutrition just falls in with self-care. All of those wellness, self-care activities are all connected with nutrition. So sleep is really important. This isn't always a popular message, especially with this age group, but with my patients who are not sleeping well, I always set a bedtime and a wake-up time.
Okay.
And that might sound childish, but having that routine is really important. You're going to get better sleep and you're going to make better choices when you're awake. Whenever you're tired, you're going to go for food to wake yourself up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do that. And you're going to get hungrier throughout the day too because you don't have the energy that you need. So making sure you're getting enough sleep and good quality sleep is really important for nutrition, but just for overall health too. They have done studies where people who have consistent structure in their day, like a nice routine, have better academic performance. So that's a really good motivator to make sure you're getting to bed and waking up kind of like at a consistent time, even on weekends, even on test days, things like that. What else did you say? You said stress.
Yes.
Some people eat more when they're stressed. Some people eat less when they're stressed. Stress definitely affects nutrition. I think that it's very important to get the healthy habits in place to cope with stress now, because then you can carry that with you for the rest of your life. So there's CAPS here. CAPS is a wonderful resource. If you're feeling stressed out and you don't know how to manage that stress or it's affecting your eating, I think it's really important to get connected with CAPS, and they can help you come up with the resources that you need. You might need to adjust your strategies, learn strategies that would help you to deal with the stress. And then the mental health piece of it. Is that what you said? You said sleep, stress, and social.
Social.
Yes, let's do that. So social activities are great. Organizations on campus are awesome. I think especially new students want to do everything and overload their schedule. Yeah. So again, learning to manage that and prioritize, I think, is really important. But also noticing, like, how is this affecting my eating? So if I'm going to a weekly meeting and they always provide pizza, that's great. You're getting something. You should eat it. That's great. You get protein and you get starch and there's some dairy on there. But if it's happening every week, it might be important to say, okay, maybe my snack tonight could be yogurt and fruit to make sure I'm kind of balancing that. Or maybe if you feel comfortable, you could suggest, like, maybe could we have a salad with our pizza every once in a while? Yeah. So just being mindful, I think, again, of that balance is really important.
I like some of the research that you shared. The next question deals with how does nutrition affect academic performance, and you stated that link between good sleep and consistent sleep. With eating habits, good eating habits, and academic performance. But how does nutrition affect not only academic performance but energy levels and mental health? Because, as you know, Allison, that's one of the biggest topics that my office deals with and others across the country.
Right. Okay. So the research, they did a study this year. They found that, let me make sure I have it right in my head, improved nutrition affects mood, which affects academic performance and GPA specifically. Yeah. So it's all connected. Again, nutrition and mental health go hand in hand. So I think it's really important to make sure that you're getting that nutrition. Short term, you just have the waffle before your exam. You're probably going to get hungry halfway through and get or tired. It's going to be harder to focus. If you have some eggs with it or some kind of protein, it's going to be easier to just kind of easily power through. That's exactly right. So short term, it's great. Long term, that habit of eating a balanced diet is going to carry with you for improved mental health. Now, mental health is a little tricky because there are patients who have depression to the point where they have no interest in food or they have no appetite. If you have that type of depression, it's really important to get hooked up with somebody who is a mental health expert. So going to SAFE or going to CAPS is really good because it's going to treat your depression, and there's really not much I can do nutrition-wise until the depression is treated. What was the other thing you said? You said...
So we have energy levels, mental health, and academic performance, which you've covered.
Okay.
Pretty much.
And just recognizing that when you make those changes, your energy levels, especially for the younger patients, almost always go up. They see a pretty quick result there.
Listen, the one thing that I keep hearing from you, Allison, is a holistic approach. It's not just about nutrition, but you working with other healthcare providers, and I'm sure that you do that in your current position. And I've always had that kind of philosophical approach. It's not about me, but it's about we, how we, can help, in this case, our students.
Right.
Yeah. So So what role does hydration play in student wellness, and how can students make sure that they're drinking enough water?
That's a really good one. So hydration has been shown to improve memory. If you're hydrated, your memory works better. So if you're trying to remember the things you're studying, you need to be drinking water.
There you go.
Hydration also affects every system in your body directly. So it's going to help your skin, it's going to help your immunity, it's going to help your muscles, your joints. There are just so many things that hydration status affects. And it's pretty easy to get dehydrated. It's also pretty easy to stay hydrated. Everybody has their tumblers now, right, with their water. Carry that around and drink it. The easiest way to know if you're hydrated is the P test.
Yeah.
You look at your urine. If it's pale yellow or clear, you're good. If it's dark yellow or bright yellow, you need to drink more.
Yeah. And I think that this is a very important topic. I know as a coach, I tell my players all the time about hydrating, and don't do it just the day of the game, the day before, is very crucial.
Right.
I know for me, if I haven't had anything to drink today, or a minimal amount, the following day I'm dragging.
Right.
So, and I think that to me, hydration is so important that we're thinking about, bringing some kind of hydration expert on the panel so that we can kind of dig a little bit deeper into it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So how do you address issues like disordered eating or body image concerns among college students then?
I love this question. So there's always a 3-part approach. If I have a student or a patient who comes to me with an eating disorder, I will make sure they're seeing a mental health provider. Sometimes they might have to see a therapist or counselor and a psych provider for medication management.
Yeah.
And then I will also make sure they're being followed by a physician or primary care provider. The physician's role is to make sure physically they're safe.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to monitor labs and that kind of stuff. The mental health care provider's role is typically to help them, among other things, help them develop coping skills, because the eating disorder is a coping skill that has been developed. We can't make stress go away, but we can deal with stress better.
Yeah.
And then my job is to provide good, sound nutrition information, but then also to support them through recovery as they go on their journey. I have to just continue to reinforce those themes that we've talked about. A lot of times we challenge the eating disorder thought. So maybe the thought is, I can't eat carbohydrate. Well, we talked about why you can't eat carbohydrate, what carbohydrate does for you. Now come up with some challenges for that thought that are going to work for you so that you are able to eat the carbohydrate. So it's a lot of like back and forth problem solving kind of stuff where they can develop a plan that works for them.
So hopefully we have some students listening and they're saying that Allison girl, she's really knowledgeable and I'm really learning a lot right now.
Oh, good. I hope so.
And so they're thinking like, okay, so you know what? I mean, I might as well start today. So could you look into the camera and encourage some students on, what are some practical tips, how they can start today?
Yeah. So if you're listening today, after you listen to this podcast, I would encourage you, please go eat a balanced meal. So whenever you choose your meal, make sure you have protein and starch, fruits and vegetables, and dairy. I always say protein and starch are the shirt and the pants of the outfit. You definitely want those. The rest of the stuff is kind of like accessories, but accessories are important too. So making sure that you're having a balanced diet. If you make that a habit where you're consistently eating a balanced diet, you're going to feel so much better. There are fewer headaches, there's less bloating, there's less constipation, your energy levels improve. In general, you're just going to feel better.
Oh, good advice. So how do you encourage students to develop long-term healthy habits rather than short-term goals?
Yes. So this is a huge issue. And most of my adult patients over the years that didn't have eating disorders are like yo-yo dieter people, because they go on one thing and then off and then on and then off. And that is so hard on you physically, but also mentally. So I would encourage anybody who's trying to make changes to find something that works for you. So you need to be able to enjoy it and you need to be able to sustain it. For example, I am not a gym person. So if I want to improve my exercise and I set a goal to go to the gym every morning at 5 a.m., that's not going to happen. I like to go outside. That's right. I like to walk outside. I like to run outside. I like to be active, but I'm just not somebody that's going to wake up and go to the gym. For some people, that's a perfect plan. They do that for years and they're healthy. Good for them. That's just not me. A nutrition example would be whole wheat bread. Some people like whole wheat bread. Some people can learn to like whole wheat bread. And then some people just love white bread and they will never like whole wheat bread. And that's okay. My goal for them is to get 25 to 30 grams of fiber every day. So if they have to eat more beans or eat the skin on their baked potato, but skip the whole wheat bread, that's all right. So it's not torturing yourself with trying to make these changes that you don't like. It's finding what works for you and what you enjoy.
Okay, so now that we've encouraged and challenged our students, let's imagine that there's some administrators, college administrators, staff members, faculty members, just systems, universities. How can, you encourage universities to get on the plan? How can we, provide better nutrition plans for our college students?
It's a good question. I think, honestly, at Frostburg, I know about, I'm going to call it Brady, but what did you say it is? The university?
Yeah.
I think they do a great job. We have SAFE, right? That's your office.
Yep.
We have CAPS. So these are 3 great resources that I think are working together to facilitate a good environment, a positive environment. And then also, I believe they're connected with local resources too. So if somebody, say an eating disorder patient goes to University Health Center, then Brady is aware that there's a dietitian locally that they could see. So I think, like what you said, it's more about the team approach and making sure everybody's working together. I think as far as the students go, just making sure they're aware of the resources and comfortable using those resources as needed, I think is really important. My one suggestion, if there are not those cooking classes, those basic cooking classes, I thought they were really awesome, and I would bring those back.
I don't know for sure. It's been a while since I've been over there, but we have emails, from food services. I believe that they still are offering.
That's great.
Them.
I would encourage everybody to go.
I agree with that, and just for clarification, and Allison, I know that you're working at UPMC Western Maryland now, so it's been a few years since you've been here.
Yes.
And just for our audience, sake, we kind of clarified that CAPS is no longer CAPS University.
Oh, I'm sorry.
University Counseling Center.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Rebranding.
And they're all in a brand new building here on campus, so just in case you're wondering.
What is she talking about?
No, it's okay. And Allison's a good sport, so I knew that I could say that. But just to to clarify with our audience, and of course my lovely assistant will have, all that information at the end of the podcast. And
very good.
So they won't miss a beat.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're all good. Yeah. So, so what's one piece of advice you'd give to every college student about maintaining a balanced diet and lifestyle? And are there any other resources that you would recommend?
I think it's just really important to remember there's no perfect way to eat. So if you're looking for that silver bullet or that quick fix, it's just not going to happen. It's more about consistency and common sense.
Okay.
So the balanced approach means a little bit of everything, not too much of anything. I always think of it like a puzzle. I've had people say, well, what's the best food you can eat? There is no best food that you can eat. They all work together. For example, if I just eat steak, I'm going to have plenty of iron, but I'm going to not have any vitamin C. If I just eat oranges, I'm going to have plenty of vitamin C, but I'm not going to have any iron. But it's really cool. Iron and vitamin C work together. Vitamin C helps you absorb your iron better. So if you have steak and oranges, not only are you getting iron and vitamin C, but you're getting that benefit with the foods working together. So I feel like that's a really good example of it's important to make sure that you're getting that nutrition from your foods and you're getting a good variety.
As you know, we're in the holiday season and lots of food and celebrations going on. Could you recommend, some things for us? Because, we're going to be surrounded, by a lot of food.
Right.
So kind of in a nutshell, what would you recommend for us?
I would say don't have all or nothing thinking. So what I mean by that is, I'm going to a party tonight. I'm not going to eat much today. By the time you get to that party, you're going to feel really bad. You're going to be super hungry and you're probably going to overeat, right?
Yep.
And then the next thing that you're going to do is wake up in the morning and you have a choice to make. Is it all or nothing? Do I eat Christmas cookies for breakfast or do I eat nothing for breakfast? Neither one. You want to stick to your routine and just eat a balanced breakfast. So that all or nothing thinking, I think, is really, it's just prevalent in general, but I think around the holiday season, it gets really bad because it's like, well, I'm kind of like off the wagon now, so I'm just going to wait till January 1st to make any changes. But if you're consistent and you stick to your routine and you give yourself some grace, there's no perfect way to eat. You might overeat here and there. that's okay. Just kind of stick with your routine and have a balanced approach.
So for folks that maybe have some more questions or they'd like to have a little bit more information, can you look in the camera and tell them how they can get a hold of you?
Yes. My email address is Lutz AP, so LUTZAP@upmc.edu. My clinic phone number is 240-964-8434.
Well, that was an excellent job. I'm very proud of you, Allison.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank
very
you for having me.
knowledgeable, and I was really impressed with the interview.
Thank you.
And nice to have you back with us.
Thank
we
you.
hope that
It's
you'll
nice
join
to
us
be
again
back.
sometime.
Anytime.
Yeah. Well, listen, folks, thanks for tuning in for another PAWSCast episode. We've really enjoyed being with you this semester, and we look forward to coming back next semester with lots of more health information. In the meantime, remember, healthy choices equal healthy lives. Thanks, and take care.
Thank you for being a part of our PAWSCast. This health and wellness podcast is brought to you by the Prevention Center and Peer Education Network at Frostburg State University. If you would like more information about our programs, visit us in Pullen Hall, room 109, or call us at 301-687-4761. Or you can always send us an email at safeoffice@frostburg.edu. Remember to watch our other episodes and stay tuned throughout the semester. Thank you!